I hear birds. Hello, thank you for watching. We are Listen In. I'm Kay, we have Jesse, and our normal third host, Alexis, is off this week. So we
Oh,
had the wonderful Zack from Ewes, Geyes, also known as Ewes Geyes, tuning in or joining us as well to share some fun music today. I'm going to start off my song with a little bit of a story. Um, a brief story, a little story time, if you will, not like with a book. But one day in 2021, I was feeling super anxious and just like having like a rough day. I knew I needed to get through a work day. So I reached out to a good friend of mine and asked for some calming things, just like what helps you chill out, because sometimes all your regular stuff doesn't work and some you need somebody else's, right? So he sent me a
mhm.
couple of like silly memes, and then a few minutes later, an entire playlist of all of his city pop songs, because he said that that's something that would help him whenever he's feeling anxious. But which is very sweet, but I didn't like city pop at all at
Oh,
the time yet. But this playlist is actually what changed my mind. So totally good on him for sharing that playlist, changing my mind, and giving me some really anxiety reducing music to use whenever I need it. And on this playlist is a wonderful song that stayed one of my favorites, and that's what I'm going to bring today. That song's called Last Train at 25 o'clock, and it's from the Japanese indie pop band Lamp in their 2004 album called Four Lovers. Lamp consists of three friends who met in high school and college, and their music has been described as cafe music and city pop, and pulls from inspiration from bossa nova, jazz, soul, and funk. I'll be honest, I'm not feeling my best this week. I've had migraines like every night for a week, and I'm tired of it. And so part of why I wanted to share this song, which along with the rest of my I'm sorry, I can't read or speak today. That's part of why I wanted to share this song this week, because it's still, along with a lot of the other songs on that playlist, something I reach for when I'm just in a crappy mood and don't feel like doing anything else. So I'm really thankful to that friend for introducing me to city pop in general, including some more like classic city pop, but also Lamp's song, Last Train at 25 o'clock. And we can go ahead and listen to it. So, Lamp,
I love
you
Lamp.
feel like it
Lo-
brightened up your day?
I love Lamp.
You love Lamp.
Cut to a picture of the heavy breathing moth.
Zack Robot.
Lamp.
That's
Damn
a robot
I
breathing.
was thinking I should refresh my page while the song was going. So
It got extra silly. Oh, goodness. Oh, hero. All he wants to do is stare out the window. Are you back? You're back.
Hey.
Great. Welcome back.
do I still sound like a robot?
Only when you speak like that.
Quick picture. Show me the. Tell me which one of these is a lamp and which one of these is a truck.
I don't get it.
It's
Like a capacha
yeah. Captcha?
or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh,
Captcha.
a captcha. I understand. I understand now. I have a lamp right here, though. I should have grabbed it during the song. I didn't think about it.
So we had discussed before in the prep posting the lyrics, but I realized that there is a 200 letter limit, character limit to the
link would probably be
comments,
more effective.
so that's not going to work so good.
Yeah.
But I didn't realize that until I had already posted the whole lyrics, and it was like, this is 2,000 more characters than you can put into the comments. So
wait, I've got it. I've got the link.
yeah, so the
I think you have to copy.
yeah,
paste
the link will
link,
work.
But I did post it for anybody currently watching, and then I don't know anybody else. You can Google lamp. Last train at 25 o'clock. Lyrics. Yeah.
Anyway, it's a very fun
impressions
song.
on the song.
This is so cool. Like I'm vaguely familiar with city pop. Most of what I've heard I enjoyed. I feel like it's based on this song compared to my previous understanding of city pop though. Like it's a very nebulous sort of genre. Much like pop is, where it's because like what I think of as city pop is like late 80s, early 90s mixed with like folky or I don't know.
No, it's 70s.
70s? I mean, okay. I'm
largely 70s and 80s, I think. I thought.
I was sort of getting that.
Yeah, but with this song, it was very much like it opened up with like bossa nova guitar and went into like disco funky chicken scratch guitar and chicken grease. I always forget one of those things.
Something to do with chickens.
Chickens. Yeah, chicken
And
guitars. And then and it was just so the vocals were chill, but the rhythm was very not chill, and like the combination of that was just delightful. Yeah.
Yeah, I think one of my favorite.
I think I have to listen. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead. No, you first. Go ahead.
Sorry.
Our guest first.
I think I just have to listen to more like Korean, Japanese, Chinese like style music, because I have this. My brain does this thing where if I hear a song of those countries, or like just Asian music in general, like it immediately builds like an anime opening in my head. So like even, I mean, initially, like, once the lyrics started, it was kind of like, oh, this is like kind of like I could see this being the opening song for like a chill, like 90s anime, like slice of life style, like anime opening. And I could like see these characters like being like, cut in that way. And I just thought, I mean, because that's sort of where my main listening, or that's mostly where I hear like Asian music pretty much, is either through anime or when K brings K-pop songs to the podcast. So I just need to I need to expand my purview of Asian music, I guess.
I can definitely think of anime openings that would fall into the city pop genre, so I don't think you're too far off, and especially given the like the huge popularity of city pop. I think it was that 80s 90s time period in Japan. I'm not good at times or dates or anything like that. To the point where it was seen as like kind of kitschy and overplayed for a little while, just because there was so much of it everywhere. It's definitely been used in anime openings, so I don't think you're too far off with with this one. But I was going to respond to Jesse's observation of the drums and the rhythm, which is just relentless throughout the entire thing. And honestly, I didn't notice that. I've heard this song a ton, and I didn't really think about it until this week when I chose this song to bring. And I was like, I should probably listen to this a little more closely. And I was like, oh my God, they're just wilding out, like from the when they first come in to the end. But I do think it's that really cool contrast with this like very chill, mostly for most of it, very chill vocal line, very chill melody, very effortless. That I just like to imagine like some, I don't know, mad scientist metal drummer guy in the background. All this.
I was I gotta, it's not the same, and I one of my hesitations about coming on as a guest was that I'm not as familiar with terminology, so I don't know what bossa nova is, but to what the feeling sort of I got, and again, it's like the vibe, right? I got like a very like a girl from Ipanema vibe.
That's
If
bossa
that makes
nova.
any
Which
sense,
is
like
bossa nova.
Yeah.
Yeah. So totally
okay,
valid.
okay, cool.
Yeah.
I was sort of when you were talking about it, I was like,
Oh
is
wow,
that
really
what it is?
robotic.
Okay, but yeah, that definitely like there's like the bongos, like drum sort of feel, and it's definitely like more like 2 times speed or like 1.5 times speed.
Zack
Zach,
robot.
I think your sound quality is just getting
No,
funny.
not again.
We Oh, this is going to be a very silly episode.
God, it's like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Roboto.
Domo arigato, Mr. Roboto.
Get him Japanese. Welcome back, not
And-
robot Zach.
Thank you.
Maybe Zach is actually
another
a
thing-
robot.
sorry.
It's just shortening out. He's like clickily hitting reset when he refreshes.
Do not spoil the secret. Another thing, I don't. Have either of you looked up? I know. Have either of you like looked up the lyrics to the song, like the translated lyrics?
I didn't have time. Sorry.
No, that's
Yeah,
fine.
I glanced
It's just
at them briefly, honestly.
that's fine. It's just interesting because I was looking over them, and there's not a chorus, which I find interesting. It's like sort of, it gives more of a like stream of consciousness feel than a like here's the verse and then there's the chorus and then here's another verse and then there's the chorus. And I just thought it never occurred to me to think about music that way. I think I don't know if it's a difference between East or West style or if it's a difference between like song genre styles. But it's something I thought was interesting.
Definitely just a genre thing. To give you the word in classical, I think it's through composed when you don't actually have parts and like you don't have an ABA song style or an ABB or anything like that, meaning like that's how it works in classical music. Not so much. That would be like the equivalent of verse, chorus, etc. But it's typically in classical music called through composed, where there is not a repeating section really. This one has like a few repeating, but I definitely think it's really interesting how it's like it just kind of keeps throwing new material at you. And it actually reminded me of Jesse's reaction to Hint's AO last season. Do you remember that, Jesse? I think it was you that brought up that the song had just so many sections, and it's like every time you settled into one of them, it would go to something else.
Yeah.
And I definitely felt that happening here as well, with a very different vibe, but
Very different vibe.
very different vibe.
Yeah.
And I think my understanding of like that change in structure or varied structure is like music doesn't have to be any one formula, but the whole like verse chorus bridge chorus sort of rough formula only really came about with modern recordings, because in early records there was a time limit of like 2 to 3 minutes, and it grew as recording technology advanced, but because everything had to be truncated, um, they had to squeeze in whatever tricks to make things interesting or catchy or hooky into that short amount of time. And so having repeating parts broken up by non-repeating parts is a good way to like make someone remember or like stick it in their head and keep them entertained in a short amount of time. um because you're not anticipating them doing like a relaxed leisurely listen while they do other things or whatever. Uh so that's something that came about, and I think commercialism has just kind of kept that going, in that is the most efficient unit to put on the radio still. So that's how it goes. But yeah, like if you step away from commercial radio and that sort of world and like don't assume that that's what you're making the music for, then like yeah, you can take any sort of structure you want to, and I think it works really well with this one.
I will say the song does have a repeating section that I would probably call the chorus, although I know it's not marked that on the Genius lyrics, at least where people normally mark choruses. Um, and I'm not sure what the lyrics are because I haven't compared them that closely with the Japanese, but it's the part that goes do 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 do. That to me feels like the most chorusy thing we get. I think it comes back one or two times. And that's normally what sticks in my head, along with that little bossa nova rhythm after I listen to this song. But there's also that section that I'm trying to remember what happens there. But the vocals just do something melodically very weird. It's like not what I expect with the whole rest of the song. It's very jazz feeling, which is my favorite thing. So that's fully meant as a compliment. But do you all remember what I'm talking about, or do I have to remember?
Not exactly. My memories are
That's
more
fair.
about like backing vocals and like there's a guy
Is
who
it
comes
when
in
the
somewhere, and that's like, oh, I wasn't expecting that, but
Do 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 do, that part that like suddenly the lyrics get
I
really
think to
fast.
me it didn't like it stuck out that it was fast, but because the jazz element was like fitting so well with the rest of the song, like that didn't like strike me as
stand out.
melodically weird. Zack reset again.
No.
Oh no.
But yeah, like it's just working so well, and it's like bossa nova is kind of descended from jazz, right? So like that's not so out there, but like the whole jazzy, funky, disco-y sort of thing, just like yeah, it made it fit for me, so it didn't really stick out as much as I think it did for you.
It didn't stick out as in it felt out of place. It stuck out because I really liked it. If that makes sense. It's not that it didn't work with the rest of the song, but yeah, it stood out for me. Just because I really love that melody and some of the weird intervals that get hit with it. Weird for pop is what I mean. I'm not going to say anything else before I keep digging myself a hole on that one.
We can jump in with you. It's fine. Going back briefly to Zach's thing about like anime openings, I think something that like I had a very similar reaction when I was listening to it, and I think part of that is the like synth strings that are in the background. That is very like JRPG or like anime opening sort of deal, because like they don't have the budget for I mean, typically that's why they started using that sort of thing, is because they don't have the budget to like get real strings in there. But like it's become part of the sound, so now that is the active choice. It's not a forced choice. That's we want to have synth strings for this particular sound. And I think it's really, it kind of lends a like levity to it, or like where
I get
I
that.
think if it was like real strings, like it would still sound amazing, but I think it would be more self-serious, I guess, feeling to me. At least by comparison, if I like think synth strings versus like live strings, um, it just makes it feel more. I words.
Lighthearted.
Lighthearted. Yes, there you go.
Yeah.
To me.
Yeah, I
I
think
get
it's the way
that.
that they're used to, not just the instrument themselves.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Not from me. I really love it.
It's fun. It's a good song.
Very
Yeah.
fun song. Yeah.
Very fun. You listen to it a lot because it's got a lot of parts.
That's.
It's like 3 songs in one. It's a good deal.
Mhm.
But like kind
And
of
then you look at the
blended
translation.
together. It's just like you stick the 3 songs in a blend, and then they come out and they're like, oh, this tasted pretty good.
And you're like, oh, lamp.
Yeah, lamp.
Of course.
It came out as a
I would
lamp.
love to know how they ended up with that name. That would be.
Mhm.
That's what I want.
Maybe they're all moths.
It's probably
secretly.
Or they watched Anchorman and they're like, you know what? That's the one. I love
When did that
lamp.
come out?
All right.
Anchorman was like 2006, I think.
No, disqualified. Maybe Anchorman actually loved Lamp the band.
Yes.
Ah.
Yeah, so they were actually formed back in, I think, like around 2000.
Oh.
And so they've been around for over 20 years. This song is from their 2004 album, which is their second full-length album, I think. Their first one was in 2002. So, yeah, they've been around for quite some time, which is super cool. And I will say they've slowed down in releases in recent years, but there's plenty of backlog from those 20 years of activity as a group to listen to. Full transparency and an apology to Lamp. When I first heard this song, before I was like fully ready to accept city pop as well, so there's that element. I went and listened to their entire discography because that's what I do, and I didn't like it. But I think it's because I was looking for more of this level of energy. And a lot of their other songs are not. They're a little bit chiller. They don't have that, like, a mildly
That
insane
vibe.
rhythm section. It seems like somebody chugged a Red Bull before they started playing. So I think I was looking for something that they are not, and I went back this week and started to listen a little more to some of their other releases and found that I actually quite liked them. So that was unfair of me, and I'm sorry, Lamp, for my previous wrong opinions. I will give you another chance outside of this song to win me over. Go listen to Lamp.
definitely
so that
matters,
you too can be
right?
won over.
Sorry.
What?
It definitely matters especially if you're hearing music from someone else, it depends on your feelings at the time, you know, when you're hearing something, because you can take a song you love, but if you're not like emotionally in a good space to listen to it, you'll skip it.
100%.
Like this is probably my favorite song of all time, but I'm really not in the mood for it, so I'm going to skip it. Sort of deal, and that just happens, and that's totally okay.